Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. Why exchanges may not relist XRP. You're going to want every bit of that. Ripple's got new legal counsel, and you need to know about their specialties. And the Ripple board member joins the Department of Justice for the AntiTrust team, and so much more. What about a rescission buyback scenario, but Ripple having to do it based on a security designation? Let's take a look at what that would look like. Head on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen. Everything that we're talking about here today. Give us a follow on Facebook at Digital Perspectives News for exclusive content there, and on TikTok at Digital Perspectives No Spaces. $943 billion market cap for crypto. We're up 1.5%, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, Bitcoin 20,100 plus, Ethereum 1,100 plus. The number 7 spot is XRP at 32 cents. We're off by 4.2% on the 7-day and up 2% on the 24-hour. The range of price, and it's July 6th, 2022, everybody. Right now, 32 cents. We're looking at 31 on the bottom, 33 on the top. We'll keep an eye on it. If you're not aware, during this downtime of this suppressed market, Link2.com is a great place to look if you're interested in getting private investing and doing private equity. That's where you can buy companies' products, their shares, before they have a public exit. And I tell you, I really am excited about this. There's a couple different places that I like to invest outside of crypto, and this is one of them. Not financial advice. There is a link underneath the video, and this is a list of some of the amazing products that they have on tap right now. And don't mess around, because they run out very quickly, and you never know when it'll be the last time. Make sure you check it out. Right here we see Raoul Pal, macro investor and crypto investor. There's nothing on the chart for the Dixie, which is the dollar index, until 120. Boy, oh boy, that is a mess. He calls it the hashtag dollar wrecking ball for crypto. And I tell you, it has been discovered long ago that there is an inverse correlation. When the dollar, the US dollar, is doing well, crypto does horribly. And that's what he sees here on the chart. So it looks like we got more pain to go here just based on the dollar index. Now, I remind people, and you know, I don't want to sound like the good news bearer here. I'm not trying to put ice water in your veins. But if we see SEC sue an exchange, I believe that could put more downward pressure on the crypto space as far as price. If we see USD Tether collapsed or rug pulled in some way, I believe that could put an enormous amount of downward pressure on crypto and the price. So keep an eye out for these things. I'm trying to be prepared if those events happen to have some dry powder to make some purchases all across my favorite places. Right here is a chart from TA Analyst right here, and it says, it's Bitcoin is ready for a massive bull run. If you look at these cycles here, how it runs, and this is what history has told us here, and this is where we currently are. Well, I tell you something, I hope the chart is right, because the real deal is, although I still have questions about Bitcoin's utility, I wouldn't be upset if this chart was accurate. I want all boats to rise. Listen, there are questions we are going to ask ourselves that are very, very possibly unfavorable for us that we talk about with Ripple and XRP. We're not afraid to look at the up and the downside. And if you're an investor, a real investor, you are not afraid to look at these questions and speculate on these possible outcomes. And I tell you, I hope for everyone that Bitcoin finds more utility than it has today. Right here, I'll tell you what, you talk about utility. You can learn about the fastest growing blockchain for protocols. It's Kava. And they're going to have an Ask Me Anything to launch on August 31st, 2022. I tell you, it says the Kava 11 is officially set to launch August 31st with TVL will explode, which is total value locked up in smart contracts Pretty remarkable stuff what Cobb is doing during this time of uncertainty here. And you talk about uncertainty, this is one team that doesn't have it. He's patting Steve Neri off on the shoulder because he's responsible for getting the letter that said Ethereum was not a security. Whoa, 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 what letter? Take a listen here.
I'm Jeff Pulver, and sometimes I'm Steven's spokesperson, because what he did not mention is that he's the one who legally defined what an ICO is. He created the killer app for Ethereum when he actually created the ICO. He is the one responsible for getting the letter that said that Ethereum was not a security. It's all him. You could thank the entire multi-billion-dollar industry on his shoulders, because he created that. I'm Jeff Pulver.
Well, what's interesting about that is that he did do those things. There's no question about it. But here we have a question, or actually posed a statement and a comment from Fred Rispoli here, who says, not to get ahead of ourselves, talking about the anticipation of the SEC appeal after the Ripple win. He says not to get ahead of ourselves, but remember, SEC has the option to appeal to Second Circuit if it loses spectacularly in the summary judgment. If that happens, the real question becomes whether exchanges, now armed with a legal ruling favoring XRP, develop a backbone and relist while appeals take place. Well, I think we're going to find out why there's no more mystery on why the exchanges delisted and why they may not relist. I tell you, if you look right here, this is a reminder that JP Morgan Bank takes on Coinbase Gemini as its first crypto exchange customers. Well, JP Morgan is the biggest whale behind Ethereum. And I believe, just as I know DAI has shown plenty of evidence of, especially from Nancy Wojitas, it appears that it was supposed to be a ruling and decision for the whole crypto space, but yet it looks and appears as if greed had gotten into a bunch of people's hands and minds, and they decided to only back Ethereum. Now, JP Morgan has a lot to answer for as far as I'm concerned, because they are the biggest buyer and holder of Ethereum and consensus behind that project. So you have to wonder if this is more manipulation by them to get ahead while holding back Ripple and XRP, and obviously by default, the rest of the crypto space. MasterCard calls for digital assets regulatory clarity, and so do we. And so do we. The payment company considers digital assets in the context of real-world use cases, while it sees many different possibilities of what can be done in the payments world. We know MasterCard, Visa, all connected to Ripple and American Express, as well as many, many other companies and projects. Digital Pound Foundation and today the Bank of England published its financial stability report calling for greater regulation of crypto assets. We covered this similar just a few days ago about the systemic risk and needing more regulation, because there's still a lot of scams and fraud that's happening in the space. I think all of this is really falling in alignment with the fact that the EU has just passed some regulations for crypto and stable coins. We need harmony in all the different regions and countries of the world here. Now, very quickly, I want to cover this before we go on to the other news here. Jeremy Hogan says we could see a ruling on the Hinman emails this week. This week. And the reason for saying that is because he said, I think Judge Netburn will rule on the Hinman emails this week, mainly because motions to strike expert witnesses are due next week, Tuesday. Speaking of which, looking forward to Ripple's motion to strike the expert report of Mr. Duty. It should be a doozy. Absolutely. And thank you, Jeremy Hogan, for that. Many others believe that we will never, and Ripple will never get to see that email draft list, because if it was supportive of the SEC's argument and complaint, they would have rammed it down our throats long ago, but they haven't. And I believe that is the telling point right there, that they have done all of this legal acrobatics, to try to make sure that we do not see the emails. And I tell you, that tells me everything we need to know. So if the judgment is in favor of Ripple seeing the emails, I have to believe that that is going to move us to a fast track for some kind of settlement talks. Now, let's talk about this. DAI put together a nice clip here, and I want you to see this. It's the Ethereum Free Pass is about creating a token factory. This is the SEC helping to create a monopoly, AntiTrust. Retweet to everyone in Congress and the media. The U.S. needs a level playing field in digital assets, not an Ethereum monopoly, which is JP Morgan backed. And that's absolutely right. Take a listen to this very quickly.
Ask yourself, where do monopolies come from? In the United States, the most important and the strongest monopolies are unquestionably those that derive from governmental privilege.
They consider the Ethereum network token and issuance mechanisms to be decentralized, and therefore no transactions involving those particular assets are considered to be transactions of securities. They have not said the same thing about other tokens, the Ripple token, for instance, and they were clear that they were going to come out with statements to sort of assess these different tokens, and I believe they've made all the statements about decentralization that they're going to make.
What private monopolies there are that have been able to maintain themselves over any long period of time without government assistance, period. And the second was the New York Stock Exchange. Not more recently, because since 1934 it's had the help of the SEC.
Which islands were we going to buy, and what were we going to do with these hundreds of millions of dollars that people were going to drop on us? So I drove lots of the legal work. We got a piece of paper in our pocket before we actually launched the token sale.
But almost every other case, you have temporary monopolies develop, and if the government doesn't come in to shore them up, they fall to pieces.
The SEC has been very clear that, I guess Jay Clayton, Commissioner Clayton, indicated that they wouldn't grandfather anybody, that big surprise, they're going to enforce securities law. We happened at a moment in time when securities regulators around the world were not watching, and we became sufficiently decentralized.
I don't think Ether is decentralized. I think it's fully functional, but I don't think it's decentralized. But the chairman, the division director said it's decentralized. So, hey, look at the metrics for Ether. And, hey, you do a little better than that, hey.
Then why isn't Ripple?
Yeah.
And you can go down the line and find that one hypothetical monopoly case after another derives from governmental assistance.
Absolutely. And what a great video from Digital Asset Investor right there. Now, I have to say, that makes me think, for one, hopefully it is intervened upon and the Ethereum free pass is righted and the ETH gate is investigated and sorted out. That much I hope. But we also have to ask ourselves, could antitrust laws apply to the idea of the Ripple escrow? Listen, if we're right about the full impact of what XRP is designed to do, then we have to ask ourselves, will Ripple be able to remain the steward of the escrow? That is a great question. I ask here because someone had mentioned, the tweet's been deleted here, but someone had mentioned the escrow expires in August from the 55 months it was originally set to. This just got a lot more interesting. What happens next is the question. Now, they're down here from Leonidas said the last original escrow was created in December 2017, has already ended a few days ago. If Ripple hadn't renewed any escrows, right now 0 XRP would be held in Ripple in escrow. However, Ripple has been renewing roughly 82% of each escrow for the past 55 months. This means that currently the last escrow ends in May 2026. And if escrows continue to get created at this rate, the escrow will run out no sooner than 2044. The time needs to pass for the escrow funds to get released. The escrower cannot release sooner. Once released, the wallet holder controls the XRP in it. He can create a new escrow or do as he pleases. To be clear, this does not mean new XRP is created. the XRP supply is significant. And I say, here is something that we need to take a look at. This is courtesy of Mr. BXRP, shout out to you. And this original explanation from David Schwartz himself of the XRP escrow, it doesn't seem to share the exact details of what happens to the XRP that goes on the back end. Is it possible to have a different set of conditions than the original escrow conditions and stipulations? That is the question that I have. One thing I do know is when we go into this article that was put together by David, at the end it says, while the escrow is currently being used to provide more predictability to the XRP supply, Ripple expects that escrow will increasingly be used for higher value on-ledger and cross-ledger atomic payments using the Interledger Protocol, which I will remind you was gifted to the W3C, which is the international body that oversees the standards and principles to the internet that we currently use. The XRP ledger also provides payment channels for lower value off-ledger payments and micropayments. Now, there is something I'm looking forward to seeing right there. I said, here's where we're going, hopefully sooner rather than later. That is what we're talking about here. Now, the question here again is, what do we make of all of this? Look, we know that the SEC wants to see a security designation for XRP. I firmly believe that XRP is a virtual currency. That's how I see it. But you know what? That and 50 cents won't get you a cup of coffee. So, at the end of the day, we have to be strong enough as investors to look at what these people are trying to do in that agency to the asset and why they may be trying to do that. This is Brad Garlinghouse's attorney on stage with an SEC lawyer discussing the BlockFi case, which really discussed the Reeves test and how it impacted BlockFi case by deciding that what they were doing was in fact equity and debt securities, using security bond type verbiage for their outcome, using the Reeves test, not the Howey test. I tell you, the Howey test is a distraction in this case. It has been determined long ago that the Howey test does not apply because Ripple already has shares. You can get them on Link 2. The question now is the SEC trying to determine that XRP is a bond of the ledger and that they want it to be a equity or debt security, much in the way the BlockFi case was? Not that they're the same products, but remember, Ripple has lending product just like BlockFi does in a very general macro sense. And is the SEC, which is known for overreaching, trying to bring XRP into a bond equity debt security type of designation? That is the question. Take a listen to this clip before we move on very quickly.
I think I looked yesterday what's happened with all that. There may have been some extensions. I don't think we have clarity on that. Finding something, it's not a finding that's legally binding. This is the way that these settlements are styled. But
that's Matthew Solomon, Brad Garlinghouse's attorney, talking about the BlockFi case and how it came out as through the Reeves test as equity and debt security investments.
The Commission found that this lending product was a equity security, an investment contract, but also that it constituted a note under the Reeves test, and they set that out. The Commission set that out in the settlement order. This is a way, I guess, of giving some kind of guidance through this settled order of how expansive the Commission believes the Reeves test is in relation to lending products, not just equity security, but also, in their view, a debt security. Others going to follow suit because clearly there must be other inquiries going on of similar products, since, again, BlockFi is not the only one out there like this. So that's my perspective on it. I don't know if others have views, because I do think this is an effort. I don't know, Steve, if you can talk any more about it, probably not, but to give some information to the marketplace. And those are my personal views about what the Commission's trying to do, but if you can elaborate on that for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can't elaborate in any way that you would enjoy, I don't think.
I believe they're laughing because I believe this is the conversation and this is where the fight is with the SEC versus Ripple case. It is how it lines up and how it is actually determined to be found and classified by the Reeves test.
But I don't disagree, however, with your read of the order, which does, to me, make some significant findings regarding the application of Reeves and the note analysis to.
And make sure you understand that he's not commenting on the case. He's commenting on how he read and understood the Reeves test and the BlockFi decision and that order. He's very careful to not discuss the actual findings, how it relates to something like XRP.
Lending products, as well as noting that these types of pooled crypto can require registration under the Investment Company Act.
These types of pooled crypto. Haven't we heard about pools of XRP? Haven't we heard people talk about the idea that, banks don't have to hold it. They could use it in a big pool, a liquidity pool.
Those seem, to me, just based on the reading of the public document and the findings, to be pretty significant.
And there you have it. Seems to be pretty significant to me. But what if the SEC does somehow pull out a win here and get a security designation? Couldn't that in turn, and I've asked this question, and we're gonna find out, I hope, but I have asked the question of legal analysts out here, and let me see if I can find that very quickly for us. Here we go. It's actually right here, and I actually had it in front of me. I've got so much I want to show you. We're going to get through it here. Stay with me. It's the Reeves test, and I ask here for all the legal analysts, John Deaton, Attorney Hogan, Jim Filan, could a similar ruling on XRP cause a Ripple rescission buyback where they offer, just like if it were to get a security bond designation, would there be a bond repurchase or a bond buyback scenario? Look, this is not unheard of, and if it were to be classified as a bond-type security debt equity instrument, they could be forced to do a rescission for a certain time period of sales. And it may not mean that you have to participate in those sales, but take a look at this. Somebody says they're going to buy back all global assets. Well, Crypto Baron, who's not so bright, big if. It could be a tender offer that is limited, where more than likely you could choose to participate or not. It wouldn't be a precedent if it gets declared a security. If we're right about its importance for XRP to banks and governments, they don't want us to use it. Be prepared for every outcome. He says here, like a troll, the big if only serves as clickbait for Rule and Valley. Really? Well, I tell you, I find that interesting because what I really know to be true is this. Oh, okay, you got it all figured out. I'm pretty sure the SEC is making Ripple pay millions in legal fees to fight the exact notion. So I guess we could just tell them you said it isn't, and we all can stop being concerned about it. Gee, thanks, Coach. Ripple's really fighting this. This is really happening. And they really did just bring in new counsel, and let's take a look at what they specialize in. Well, Kylie Kim specializes in commercial litigation at both trial and appellate levels. Ms. Kim has particular experience in, guess what? AntiTrust telecommunications. How about that one? Because again, either it's the argument that we are like Ethereum or we are not like Ethereum. And so far, Ripple has taken the argument that we are like Ethereum, so we should be through the gate and get a pass just like Ethereum has too. If we're not like Ethereum, then we need to start talking about the antitrust telecommunications issue, don't we? Yes, I believe that we do. And let's take a look here. The other gentleman here specializes in mathematics and economics. Degree in economics and mathematics here. Now, and also Sentinel U.S. Court of Appeals for D.C. Circuit Court, as well as, I tell you, are they talking about appealing something here? Are they going to need to appeal something here? Is he there because of his specialty in mathematics and economics to deal with the expert witnesses? I don't know. But I tell you this happened yesterday at the same time. Ripple board member, former Microsoft economist Susan Athey joins the Department of Justice AntiTrust team. Now, it says that the AntiTrust division there at DOJ is preparing for Google and Amazon cases that are coming up, for which she has recused herself from. So she's not going to be a part of that fight. So what in the world is she doing there? Could it be to deal with the issue of what is to come of the XRP escrow? I don't know. Could it be to deal with the issue that is the antitrust monopoly issue of Ethereum? I hope so. What I do know is that we're missing something just like this that the internet had in 1996. It's the Telecommunications Act that really allowed everyone to participate in the growth and birth of the internet. That's what we're missing. We're missing Congress actually doing their job. But they're too worried about losing a vote so they can be a career politician and be able to pivot and dodge and parry and all the rest of it so they can continue to be a career politician and never really do their actual job. Here's what I do know in the meantime. Until we do get a decision, I've moved the majority of my holdings to cold storage with Ledger. And you can do it too with the link underneath the video. They have great products and specials and deals, just as do the rest of the links I have under there. I'll catch all of you on the next one.